Hi, my name is Dona Duck. This is my discussion channel where I have a topic that I discuss. Simple. Alright, so this video's topic of discussion is surrounded by Halloween. You can see I'm dressed up as a clown, if you couldn't guess. But this video's topic of discussion is fears versus phobias. And I'm going to be rating some fears if they're rational or irrational. So if they're like, okay, that's a completely normal fear to have, or if it's like, okay, that's kind of weird, but you know, it's your fear, okay. That's how I'm going to be rating the fears in this video. Alright, so first I'm going to give the definition of a fear, and then I'm going to give the definition of a phobia. So a fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. So there's the definition of fear. I'm pretty sure I'm sure if you haven't experienced fear, you're lucky, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what fear means, that emotion. So a phobia is an extreme or irrational fear or aversion, which is a strong dislike to something. So a phobia is pretty much an exaggerated fear. An exaggeration is something bigger than what it is. So someone who has a phobia of, okay, I'm going to give the analogy of having the fear of being murdered and having a phobia of being murdered. So that's how I'm going to try and explain the difference between a fear and a phobia. So if someone has a fear of being murdered, it's like an uneasy thought, you know. Imagine just thinking about someone might want to murder you is like, it's an uneasy thought. It's not something you would want to happen, of course, hopefully. I don't know. And so that's what a fear is. A phobia would be thinking that everybody you encounter would want to murder you, and just like being scared to be around people, going out in public. Because a phobia affects your day-to-day life. It gives you emotions where it's hard to handle. You can't really control yourself around whatever you have a phobia of. So it's an extreme fear. So hopefully that cleared things up. And I have a list of some fears, some common fears that people have, and I'm going to rate them if I think they're an extreme fear or phobia, or just like a regular fear that people have, normal people have. Alright, so the first fear, since I am dressed up as a clown, of course I'm going to add in the fear of clowns, which is Aerophobia. I hope I said that right. But anyways, that's the fear of clowns. If you ask me, I think being scared of clowns is an exaggerated fear. Like, why are you afraid of clowns? You know, why? If you're afraid of me in this video, why? I'm behind a screen. I can't hurt you. Like, I really don't get why people are afraid of clowns. And when people tell me they are, I'm like, okay. They tell me why, I'm like, okay, I still don't get it. You know, I'm not gonna be mean to them about it, but me personally, I don't get the fear of clowns. You know, it's not like you're gonna encounter a clown every day, you know. So anyways, so yeah, Aerophobia, an exaggerated fear. Alright, so the next fear that I have is Monophobia, the fear of being alone. So like being alone in your house, being alone like in public where you don't know anyone, or just thinking about, if you're alone, just thinking about it. That would be like monophobia. There's other words for it, but that's what I wrote down. Anyway, so I would have to put monophobia as an exaggerated fear, because it's like, what are you afraid of? Like, why are you afraid of being alone? I come from a big family, so when I moved away from them, and right now I no longer live with them, and it is sad because when I'm alone, it's kind of scary. When I first moved away, I moved with my sister, my dad. But my dad is at work, so he wasn't here. My sister was everywhere, so she wasn't here. So I was in that house alone, and it was scary. Honestly, it was. But I've learned there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, I was like, okay, I'm in this house. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? You know, that's my mindset. and I'm not scared anymore of being alone. So that's why I would put being afraid of being alone under exaggerated fear, because like I've learned to be okay with it. Life must go on. I'm gonna say these fears wrong, I know, but aerophobia, which is the fear of being up high, the fear of heights. I'm gonna have to put this under fear, because it's people can exaggerate being afraid of heights, but like that's a normal fear that everyday people can have, because like without having any harmful experience. Like I've never been in a plane crash, but it could happen, you know what? I know that's crazy. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna stop flying on planes because of it. If I did, that would be a phobia. But I'm just like, you know, a fear is an uneasy thought, and it's an uneasy thought thinking of being up high, the plane to crash, or being up in a tall building and you can fall out. That's scary to think of. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop going up in tall buildings, or I'm going to stop going in planes. It's just a normal fear to have. So I'm going to put fear of heights under a fear, because it's normal. Next one is Insectophobia, fear of insects. I don't know if I said it right, but anyways, fear of insects. Completely normal fear for many reasons. I may have a phobia of insects, because like I think some crazy things sometimes.
Hey, Mr. Worm, I welcome your arrival, because we're all part of the same garden. Wait, what are you? Wait, hey, get out of here! Hey,
But it's completely normal to have a fear of bugs. Bugs can crawl into your ears, and they can crawl into your cuts or wounds. They can make you sick. They can harm your body. They can get on your animals and make them sick. They can kill them. So many things surrounding with bugs, and it's nothing good too. Like people who like to have bugs as pets, I will never ever get, because bugs are so scary. So I think it's a completely normal fear. Of course, people have phobias, which they exaggerate their fear. It causes them, like a lot of times I hate being outside in the summer because of bugs. Bugs are really scary. They carry diseases. They're really scary. Completely normal fear. So being afraid of bugs is a normal fear. It's not exaggerated. It can be, but it's not. My last fear that I have is Nyctophobia, which is the fear of being in the dark, fear of darkness. I kind of have two opinions around being afraid of the dark, and I came up with these two opinions because of a story from my past, my childhood, which I'm going to share. So when I was little, it was okay. I was the youngest at the time. No, I wasn't. I was the youngest who wasn't a baby. So the babies were, of course, excluded from our activities, and good for them, because my older brother, like my oldest brother, he was in charge of us while my mom was away. So he took care of us. Whenever we do something bad, I don't even remember what we did. We probably didn't do anything, but when we did something bad, he would lock us in the garage, turn the light off, and we would be in there. Sometimes by ourselves, sometimes with each other. So me and my other older brother, who was younger than my oldest brother, I have a lot of brothers. All right, when he would put my brother in there, he would cry, he would scream, he would sing, he would do everything, because he was so scared of being in the dark. He would just be crying and screaming, and when I was in there, I would cry too. Like when I was alone in the dark, I would cry too, because I was scared of just being alone in the dark. And when I was in there with my brother, when we were in there together with the lights off, I was fine. He would still scream and sing. For whatever reason, he would sing a song. But, you know, he was still scared no matter what. No matter who was there and in there with him, he was still scared. So my two opinions come from that. Like, being afraid to be alone in the dark, I think that's like a exaggerated fear, because what are you afraid of? You know, like I taught myself not to be alone in the house or alone when sleeping at night. I taught myself not to be afraid, because there's nothing to be afraid of. But the fear of not being able to see, that I can understand as a regular fear, because it's scary when you are so used to seeing everything and then you're in the dark and you can't see nothing. That's so scary. Like, I would do anything to get my mind off that too. So now I understand why he's saying now. I didn't back then, but you know, it's being afraid of the dark can be normal or it can be exaggerated. But that's like just like every other fear, honestly. But these are just my opinions in it, of course. Anyways, that's it for this video though. That's my last fear that I have, that I rated. So there are so many fears that people can be afraid of, such as water, food, black people. Zing. That guy got it. You know, it's just people have their own fears, and it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's going to have a different level of what scares them. And you know, that's just how the world is, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's okay. You know, it's but anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you like this video, like the video. If you like my clown makeup, I do have a beauty channel where I have my transformation of this on there, so it's in the description if you want to go watch that video and subscribe maybe. But anyways, that's it for this video, and until the next video, happy Halloween.